Gene.
What's up?
How's it going?
Good, man. How about you?
Doing well, doing well.
Hey, it's wet outside in the Pacific Northwest. Who would have thunk that?
It is wet outside. Yesterday was nice.
Yesterday was beautiful.
A bit chilly, but it was super nice. I really want to get outside to do a drive, but I had some work I had to get done. So since I've been traveling, I had a bunch of lists to catch up on. So yeah, it's a bit wet outside. That time of year has come where my daughter was just complaining last night. She went out for a run, and it was about 4:40 in the afternoon, and it was already
Gets dark.
It was already getting dark, and she's like, she wanted to do a 5-mile run. I'm like, you don't have time because you'll be running in the dark, and while the neighborhood's safe, I don't want you out running at pitch dark.
Well, you have animals here.
And we have
You've got
we have
elk
real
and deer and bear
and all kind of stuff. So I'm like,
elephants and whatever else you have running
we
around.
don't want
the
you
place.
out and about. And she's like, man, I hate this time of year where you go to school. She goes to school, or you go to work, and it's dark in the morning.
Yep.
And then, not right now, but as we get later on, probably December, I guess. You come home from work and it's dark too, and it's like, man. And if you're in an office all day, you don't really see anything but artificial light. Yeah, tough time of the year.
Yeah, my wife hates that too. She's like, this is her favorite time of the year, but she hates the fact that when she goes to work, it's dark. She comes home, it's dark. And yeah, she's in an office all day long doing her thing. I'm like, yeah, not me. I work from home.
I know we got that it's really like 3 months for me. Like December, kind of hit and miss. Then January, February are really tough. And then after that, it's like, okay, now we're back in the, I'm looking forward to different types of events and drives and track and all that kind of stuff. But December through February.
Our car world gets alive again. Yeah.
It's tough. Although hopefully I have enough stuff that's coming for mods on the cars that it'll keep me busy over the winter that I've got stuff to be doing.
Yeah, I may have just recently seen one.
You did. You just did. And
do you want to talk about it now or later?
Yeah, I can talk about it.
Yeah, talk about it.
I just put on I guess it's the Z07 wing it's the wing from the Z07 package on the C8 Z06. When I got the call for the allocation of the car, they said that I could get the car if I got rid of all the carbon fiber. And so I'm like, forget the carbon fiber, give me the car.
Yeah.
The car is most important. I want the car. So I got really early on the C8 Z06. But I've been wanting to get some of that stuff on the Z07 package, which I had to get rid of in order to get the car. Had I said no, I want to wait, it would have been another year before I would have got the car.
Do you think you would have had the car by now?
Oh, I would have had the car by now.
You would have, okay.
But I would have waited a year.
Would it have been a different color?
Oh, yes, it would 100%.
What color did you order?
Well, originally I got the hypersonic gray. That's the color I've got now.
That's the color you have now, yeah.
But that's not what I wanted. I wanted to get the same kind of blue that I have on the C8 Stingray, which is the Elkhart Lake blue, dark blue.
Yep.
But that color was being decommissioned. I couldn't get that color. And the orange, which I really want an orange, a metallic orange. But
not the pastel flat. The metallic looks great.
It's just a bit flat. It doesn't like sparkle. It looks kind of.
It looks good though. It is really pretty, but I like the sparkle much better. I like the sparkle,
and it's just so much deeper when you're looking at it. So I'm like, so I knew I got the hypersonic gray, and I didn't get the red. I wanted to get a red. I like red, but I had a red with another vehicle that I had an order, and so I'm like, I've already got a black wing that's red. I can't have a bunch of red vehicles. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of limited. So I went with hypersonic. It's a classy color.
I feel bad for you. I feel bad. I'm shedding a tear for your hypersonic gray Z06.
It's a pretty car.
It is great.
With the red accents on it, the red seat belts. It looks really good. If I had waited, I would have, the orange wasn't available until 2025. Mm-hmm. So I would have got they have a new blue. I think it's called Wrap. It's another blue. It's between the Elkhart Lake and your blue. It's somewhere in between. I would have got that blue if I had waited. Yeah. But it would have been a year. I wouldn't have had the car for an entire year. So I'm glad I went ahead and got it. But I went and found aftermarket parts to put on it, and it has taken 7 months to get the parts. Quite a long time. But I got the wing, the Z07 wing, and I just got it installed actually, I think I just finished it up this past weekend. Last weekend, sorry. No, it was right before I left on my international trip. That's when I got it done.
Okay.
So
it was a few weeks ago then.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago I got it done. It looks really good. I mean, it's factory. It's the same specs as factory OEM. It looks really good. Can't wait to get on track. Now it's an easier way to differentiate between me and Full Send John, because we have identical cars except coupe and convertible. When it's up, it's kind of unless you know what you're looking for, it's hard to tell. Now I've got the wing to separate us, but yeah, it definitely looks good. So I've been doing that, and that was a tremendous amount of effort. Oh my gosh, a lot of work. I don't know if I'd ever want to do that again. I mean, now that I know how to do it, it'll be faster. Just kind of like when I talked one time about painting the intake manifold, pain in the butt to do. It took a lot of hours to pull that out. And I said I'd never want to do that again. But once you get through all that pain and suffering, the next time I do it, it would be a lot easier. So if someone asked me to do that, I might do it. It is
charge
expensive. That's not.
You got to charge them. No, that's not a freebie work.
Yeah. That's definitely a chargeable.
Changing
item.
oil, that's easy. Doing a wing or an intake on that,
hours.
Yeah,
So
it's a full day.
Got that done. So that was really cool. It looks really good.
It looks. I can confer. It looks wonderful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and it's really thick and sturdy. And this is chassis mount too.
Mounted.
That's key for downforce.
Yeah, it's not mounted just on the bumper, which is aesthetically, this is chassis mounted. So super rigid, sturdy. So let's see, I've done that mod. I've done some other mods. We'll talk about that in the future thing. I've got other mods that are going on, but I'll discuss that stuff later. I did want to talk about a drive that we did up to Snohomish. Mm-hmm. So you, me, Rob, and John. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
just the four of us.
Just the four of us. Rob rode with one of us, so there's only 3 cars. And we went out, I think we met at like 6 o'clock, 6:30.
6 a.m. near my house.
6 a.m. near your house.
Do you want to talk about that for a second?
Okay, I wasn't going to, but okay.
We don't have to. We can save it for another episode.
Let's say that for another episode, because there's a whole story with that, how that thing went down.
All right, we'll leave that alone. But it's good. It was good.
So I show up at the gas station at 6 o'clock to do the drive, and then John showed up, and then we left from there, and then we drove up to Fall City. To the coffee place. To the coffee place.
Met Rob
and that's
there,
where we met Rob, and then Rob jumped in with us. And so, gorgeous day. Oh my gosh.
That day was stunning.
Beautiful.
Not a cloud in the sky. Probably 72 degrees, something like
perfect.
that.
It was great. And I had already mapped out a route of where we're going up to Snohomish. And when we met with Rob, Rob's like, hey, I've got some, I know some other routes before you get to the route where you're going to get to the end point, to the destination. Do you want to go? I'm like, yeah, sure. If you've got other stuff that you, because he's done a lot of driving in that area.
He also does a lot of bike riding.
He does a lot of bike riding out there too.
And he's some of the routes that he's taken on his pedal bike. He's more of a man than me. My legs hurt just thinking about it.
Yeah, those were good. Those were good bike routes. I would enjoy doing a ride with Rob on those. Those would be fun.
I'll follow you in my car with radio and AC on.
You'll be in the support vehicle. They call it the
support van. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's another name for it. It's like I almost wanted to say the shag, like there's another, like, I don't know, some other kind of name. Anyway, doesn't matter. Rob takes us on a bunch of these little side roads in order to get up to where we're headed out to Snohomish. Those were amazing. I mean, just great twisties out in the countryside.
We passed the carnation plant. I didn't even know we had a carnation plant up here.
I had no idea.
The Hershey's carnation. And they actually have a store that's kind of across the street from the plant that they opened up. We saw it on the way back. It's opened up. There's a whole store. I don't know what they sell there, but I will be going there. There's gonna be another drive there where we stop and have lunch. We'll have to have Hershey chocolate because
is Carnation Hershey though?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if that was their own brand, but that's cool that they had a plant here. I had no idea.
Yeah, no idea.
Huge too. It was big,
massive.
So we did that drive
in the field.
What's that?
In the field, kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah, it's like we're just driving in the pastures and these open land, and then boom, there's this big white monstrosity out there, and it's old too. It's not like
It is. It was
not like a modern building that's out there. So that was cool. So we did lots of good driving roads. For the most part, we didn't hit a lot of traffic, like getting behind anyone. Really good driving. Then we get up to did a lot of stuff. We get up to Highway 2, and that's where we took I think we went east on Highway 2, and then made our way up there to where we stopped at I forgot the name of the town.
I'm actually looking for it right now.
Yeah, you have to. I can't remember the little name of the town that we stopped in, but they had a train museum.
Skycomish.
Skycomish, the city of Skycomish.
Yeah, the city of Skycomish.
That's where it was.
Yep.
And they had like a little museum.
I'm sorry, hold on. I'm sorry. It's Skycomish. I'm looking at a picture over here. Skycomish, a great northern town.
Great northern town. That was on their sign welcoming you to the city. Mm-hmm. It was super nice little place. We stopped there. Let's see, what did we do? We got some pictures by the train. They had trains that were kind of coming through there. There was a bike group that pulled up.
Oh, yeah, they're here in front of the Whistling Post.
Yeah. They pulled up, and we were talking to them for a bit. And then we talked to the sheriff that was out there, and he was saying what a phenomenal placement, from a work location that he's got working out there. Then we took a walk over to the museum and took a look at what they had. Then I think we grabbed something to drink, and then we headed back.
Hauled butt, yeah.
Yeah, and then we headed back. So that was that was a
great day. It was a long day with a lot of driving.
Yeah.
But areas I've never been in before, and it was absolutely beautiful.
And the stuff that Rob took us on was unplanned, and it added so much more to it.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Rob. That was really good.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that.
He had made a comment because on the way back, he was in my car for a bit. And he, I'm not going to say I was speeding, but I'm not going to say I wasn't. And he said, "Oh boy," he said, "I didn't know that this was going to be this way." He said, "I've never been a passenger in the Blackwing at this rate of speed."
That's a great line.
Oh boy. I mean, what did you think? It's me. What did you think I was going to do?
On the way back, when we came back through Fall City, there was that museum that we stopped, and they had all these old cars. They were closed. We decided to bolt. But John, he called the guy. I guess he showed up.
Yeah, like 10 minutes later, the guy showed up, but we had to leave.
I had to leave.
Yeah.
We had already been a long day, so I had to get home. Actually, I never even talked to John about how that went.
I didn't either, actually.
Next time we see John, I'll have to ask him how that went, if it's worthwhile.
Just a beautiful day. If you live up here in the Pacific Northwest and you haven't gone on any good drives, go out there and get lost.
Oh.
Head out to the Snohomish area and just make your way out there. Spring, summertime, early fall. It is just go get lost somewhere. Turn off the GPS and go have some fun. It is. It's beautiful.
So many good places.
Oh.
I mean, we've just scratched the surface. I've done a lot of drives, and I've done a lot of routing and mapping, but man, there's just so much more. Gosh, if you want to, we'll talk about it later, but I would love to do like a 2-day thing just in the Northwest, because you could spend 2 days just driving the whole Northwest, spend the night somewhere, do some more drives, come back home.
There used to be a website called Doug's Drives. I think it was bought by Rain City, Rain City Podcast, which is now owned by Avance. And
Dan's Drives. Dan's Drives?
Dan's Drives. I said Doug's Drives. Yeah, Dan's Drives. And they're still out there.
Yeah, he's got some out there for
There's
sure.
some like the Great Northwestern Loop.
Yeah. He's got some good
great multi-day drives. One day, you can string together. To your point, you can string together some drives. So if you want to go out there, go to Dan's Drives.
Yep. They do good stuff there. Okay, then the other thing I'll mention is we did a trunk or treat. That's something that happens every year at SIR, Pacific Raceways. I'm old school SIR. It used to be called SIR, Pacific Raceways. Actually, I have two things, right? They've got the trunk or treat, and then there's a car show that's going on as well. We participated just in trunk or treat. So you go out there. You can get dressed up. Some people got decorated, and they bring out all kind of decorations. We had decorations, not on our car, but we had decorations for the club. And then you put candy in your trunk, and that you hand out. it was kind of funny. Last year when we did this, I picked up, I don't know, like a couple bags of candy from Costco, like the big bags, and I probably ran out within half an hour. It was super quick. So this year, I was much better prepared. I didn't run out of candy. And I actually had Ben.
You gave a bunch to Ben.
I gave a bunch. Ben, I would like walk away and I look back and I see like Ben. I told Ben, hey, just take whatever you need to. So he'd come over and get some candy. I saw that. He'd come and take it over to his truck.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I don't know how many kids they go through there, but
a ton.
It's a lot of. It was like nonstop.
Once it started at, I say 11, I think.
Yeah, about 11.
It just kept going.
It just it
was fun though. I love doing it. You know.
It helps out the community.
It helps out the community. The kids come all dressed up, and you know, I don't think I recall anybody coming in there with like any kind of attitude. All the parents are very thankful and gracious.
Yep.
It's just a cool thing to do for the community. The V Club loves to do things for the community because that's what we're about is community, not just our own car community, but the local community too. So, and we'll be back there again in 3 or 4 weeks for the Toys for Tots that we do at same
couple
place.
Weeks. Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool thing, and it didn't start raining until like later, like 2 o'clock or something. When we're getting ready to leave anyway. So, yeah, that's really cool to bring the cars together with the kids. Most of the kids were younger and they could care less about the cars, but a lot of the adults and then all the teenagers that came out, they were super jazzed about the car.
The kid with the white car, the white Toyota, like he came out as we were pulled up. He said, "Are those Black Wings?" You know, the kid's like 18. It's really cool though that an 18-year-old, that's my dream car. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool to see a lot of people come up and talk about the Black Wing specifically.
Even the guy who was directing this said, "Are those Black Wings?" Said, yeah. He said, "I like your color better," because John was in front of me with the white one. I've got the Rapid Blue or the Electric Blue, excuse me. And I'm like, yeah, me too. but I'm surprised at how many people in the younger age bracket know about the Black Wings. And they know a lot about the Black Wings. Oh, is that the V8 or the supercharged V8? Is that the twin turbo V6? That's the V6. Oh, that's the track scalpel. Yes, it is.
Yeah, on the previous podcast where we were talking with some of our members at Spring Mountain, one of the guys, I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but he was talking that this is his first Black Wing that he's ever bought. He used to have a Mercedes, and that he gets stopped by people.
Andre.
Was it Andre?
I think it was Andre.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was, but he was saying he gets stopped at, I don't think it was Andre. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well, we'll find out when we
if you go back and listen, go back to the last episode and listen. He was saying that he gets stopped at like the gas station or people. He was saying at the drive-through. I remember he was saying I was at the McDonald's drive-through, which you probably shouldn't be getting McDonald's in your Black Wing. But that aside, he was saying that the guy was giving him props for being Black Wing. So anyway, cool beans. All right, so what do you got?
Ooh, what did we do recently? We just talked about it too. My mind, I literally just lost my.
Well, we went to Spring Mountain.
We did do Spring Mountain, and then the other one was
at Brotherton.
At the Brotherton thing. Let's talk about that. One of the local dealerships here. We've got 3 local dealerships. One of them is called Brotherton Cadillac. It was GMC, Buick, Cadillac in one location. Cadillac has really pushed their dealers to split that off and have Cadillac with its own, beautifully branded dealership. And you can tell that it's the design language in the dealership is the same as in Cadillac of Bellevue. Very, very similar. So, with GMAC or GM Financial rather helping finance these things, you can see they have a say-so a little bit in the design. But it was a beautiful event. So Brad Brotherton, the owner or one of the owners, he invited us out. We had 7 or 8 people show up. We had a member who we didn't meet. He sent me a note. He said, "Oh, I wish I could have met you guys." I'm like, "Oh man, next time we'll have to give phone numbers out so they can text them because I wanted to meet them too." But it was great. So I think they probably had a couple hundred people show up. Probably. They had an Escalade IQ.
Yes.
Right, that was unveiled there, a white one.
Only 5 in the U.S.
That's right. Only 5 in the U.S. and they have one. It was driven up from. We met the guy from Portland who drove it up. Beautiful car, beautiful vehicle rather. 10,600 pounds.
Just a
little
heavy.
Yeah.
10,000 pounds.
He said it was a little heavy, but 400 something miles. It's really nicely designed for an Escalade. If you go in the service area, they had they had a mixture of lyrics and lyrics and classic Cadillacs.
Yeah,
so it'd be a lyric, classic Cadillac, lyric, classic Cadillac, lyric. And we had a game of putt golf, which I summarily talked some trash and lost.
Okay, so I got to say, we had this putt, and so
I'm gonna leave.
I told Gene, I'm like, "Hey, what are we going to bet?" Because I'm always competitive. So what are we going to bet? I'm like, I tell you what, I'll bet you an oil change. An oil change. And so Gene said, "Okay." I'm like, all right.
I should have added clarity to what that meant.
As we get up to, let's see, was it the third hole?
It was the third hole. The third one with the angle, like 45-degree angle up and down. I hate my life right now.
So we go into the first 2 holes. I think
you're up 2.
I was up 2, and then we're coming to the third hole. And there was only 7 or 8 holes is all they had. So Gene's like, double or nothing, and I'm like,
no, that wasn't that hole. That was a later one.
Okay, that's what I was trying to remember.
That's a later one though. That was a later one, though.
So there was some hole that Gene stepped up and said double or nothing. And I'm like, I'm pretty confident about my ability. So, of course, I'm like, for sure, absolutely.
But the double or nothing was you could do it to hole in one.
So Gene
which
lost.
that did not happen.
Gene lost, so he owes me oil change now. So anyway, continue on.
Yeah, I got destroyed on that one. One of them with the 45-degree incline. I hit the ball like 4 or 5 times, and I finally took a mulligan. I'm like, I'm done. Like I know it was we're gonna count 8 strokes, and I've already hit 8 strokes. We're done. It was so
that was a brutal hole for you.
It was so embarrassing. And then John did it as well. I had the same thing.
I know he did.
4 of them.
Yep.
So, anyways, really great event. It was great to see Brad get up there and talk about the dealership, the journey. They had Tao, who's a local GM director from.
She's like the Western
region. Yeah. So it was great to meet her and chat with her for a bit. So I think the club's going to start doing hopefully some partnership there, which is great. Great event, just really great event. I talked to him the next day when I went back for something, but he thanks us for coming.
Yeah,
it was fun. I really had a good time.
Yeah, it was a good time. That was a lot of people. They actually have security,
they did have security,
which is a bit surprised. I was not expecting to see that amount of security guards.
Well, I was going to try to put a lyric in my back pocket, but with the security guards, I figured they'd catch.
Well, one thing I'd also say is that one of the gifts that they gave when you showed up was the etched glass.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice glass. It wasn't like printed on. It was actually etched in the glass. Really nice little parting gift.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch.
Yeah, really nice.
So that was fun. Beyond that, we did. We went to Spring Mountain, and Spring Mountain. So every year, the Cadillac V Club hosts a thing called the Blackwing Experience. We usually do one day, which is kind of a taste of the 2-day V Club or V Performance Academy. Last year we did 1 day novice, 1 day one day advanced.
Yep.
Okay, it was fun. We had a good time, but we decided that wasn't the right format. This year we made the decision in partnership with Spring Mountain that we have a lot of members who have Blackwings that they have not had the opportunity to do the free 2-day, because you get a free 2-day event when you buy a Blackwing. It's built into the cost. And we thought, well, maybe they'll set aside a V Performance Academy weekend for us, and then we can give that as an offering to our members. And and that's what we did. So we had 18 members come in. About half of them hadn't had their free one yet. The other half paid. It really was just a lot of fun because it was only V Club members, so they didn't have to do their PowerPoint shtick about, let me tell you about the V Club. I think I even made a comment that if anybody doesn't know,
I know.
I'm going to be pretty pissy about it.
It was cool to have all just V Club members together. That was cool.
It was a lot of fun. And then I went out and took over 700 pictures.
Was that how many it was?
It was over 700 pictures that I took between my phone and the camera. And
well,
then
300 of those because Gene's finger got stuck on the shutter.
Probably. That's a minimal number. And then I went through and parsed those down to about 185 that I cleaned up and made sure I had all the right, them look pretty. I just posted them today.
Oh.
It was a great time because we met some people we've already met, some old friends. We made some new ones now, which is great. And that's really all we want to do is have fun in the cars and build the community. I mean, that's really what this is about for us. So it was a lot of fun. And then I made the mistake the night of saying, hey, to the general manager there, I'd love to go on the is it CM track? It's the
CP Charleston.
CP, the Charleston Peak track. And he said, "Sure, we'll make it happen." So he got what's her name? Tammy. He got Tammy and a CT5E Blackwing to take Dan here, myself, and our buddy John out on the track. I told her I may not get more than 1 lap. I got 3 laps. I would have not got 4 laps. There was no way on God's earth I was going to get 4 laps without throwing up inside the car. That is not the lap for that big. That's not the track for that big car. But she
did a great job.
She did a great job, and that car is insane.
Yep.
That 5E Blackwing, 668 horsepower. That thing is insane. And she drove it. She had no helmet on. We all had helmets and Hans devices on. And she drove it with one hand at one point. I'm like, man, I am such a bad driver.
You know, it's funny on that track. So I did that track at the Corvette Level 2 course.
Yeah, with the Z06, right?
With the no, it was on the Stingray.
Oh, Stingray. Okay.
Yeah, Stingray. Because they didn't have this. They don't have the Level 2 available for the Z06. So I traded my Z06 class in for the L2.
Oh, I didn't know that.
While she took us on the larger CP track.
That's right, the big one.
The big one. The one that I did in the class is part of it was shortened. I don't know how much short, but it was a little bit shorter. And the sections that I did, which is probably 3/4 of the same track, watching her go through that on the Blackwing, knowing what I did in the Corvette, it just so impressive for that car.
Oh, man.
Yes, it has about the same amount of horsepower, but it's a much heavier vehicle. And she's just wheeling that sucker around.
She's that one that is the downhill off camber turn to the right.
Yep.
That thing can make you spin out hard if you don't have the right steering angle in. And I can see you easily coming over there with your steering wheel turned to the right and then nailing the brakes and that back end coming out on you. I mean, and she did that thing like it was nothing.
Yeah, and she even said
and
that
the car
she didn't have a lot of experience on that track because they've been doing the other tracks, Northeast West tracks.
Yeah.
So the fact that she had limited experience and she just railed that sucker.
Yeah. I think the other thing that was pretty cool was we met one of the VPs of Mother's Polishes there. So Jim. Yep. And Pete from New Zealand. They've been friends for a long time. Pete's a distributor out of New Zealand. I think he said they've been friends for like 40 years. Pete has the world's only, I'm going to say air quoted, CTS V Gen 2 right-hand drive, because it's not an actual V. It's a CTS right-hand drive that he got from London or from England, and shipped it over there. And then Jim packed up the running gear, all the transmission, suspension, all of that stuff, and the aerodynamics and all the packages to make it a V, and shipped it to New Zealand. And he built it. And so you would look at it and go, it looks like an actual V.
Yep.
It is because it's got all the same components, but it's just not it's not a VIN numbered V.
It's not a VIN numbered V.
But it looks good though. It looks so
That's
good.
so impressive.
Those custom wheels that he had designed for him, looks like turbo fans. It's a brilliant looking car.
That's a lot of work.
And then talking to Jim, we talked about some of the like Chip Foose and what's his name, Mark Stilo, who's the father of those Pro Touring movement. Those great friends of his, and he kind of told stories of the show called Rides from back in the early 2000s, and I loved that show. I still have the videos, DVDs for those. He's telling stories about how he did that, and he did overhauling. So he was part of that. So it was really cool. Like these shows that I watched for a long time, he was part and parcel to making those happen. Really nice guy. And he brought in this, it was a Mustang.
Was it GT350 or?
No, but it was a Shelby.
Okay.
But it was custom in the sense that the Shelby team had custom parts on it for him. Like not custom parts, I'm sorry, but prototype parts. Yeah. And
it looked really nice. It was black and gold.
Black and gold. Is it Terra Lingua or something like that? Whatever it was. It is a beast.
And John's not here.
Terlingua. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, Terlingua Racing Team. But black and gold. And he took John on 6 laps.
Yes.
And scared John. Scared full send John. Not because he was a bad driver. He was a very good driver.
Yep.
And because of that, he knows that car really well. It's his personal ride, and he had some fun with John.
Yeah, he was hammering it.
Yeah, that's pretty funny though.
Yeah, they got a lot of laps. Didn't John say they got
I thought he said he get 6 laps.
at least 6, maybe more?
Yeah, maybe more. Yeah.
Yeah, they were hammering it.
But I didn't think John came off like green, and not.
It's always different when you're a passenger.
It
though.
is.
I mean, you can go.
I'm a horrible passenger.
You can go hauling as a driver and be completely fine, safe, comfortable. As soon as you get in the right seat,
Nope.
whole different ball game.
Whole different.
I mean, even when you know the person is a good driver, it's still unnerving.
Yes.
It's just unless you get to the point where you've done it so much that you can just become. It's not a normal thing. So.
Yeah.
Well, while we were also there, remember the exotics that came through?
Oh, good Lord.
Oh my gosh!
So apparently this guy come in, and most of the exotics that came with him with his friends were all his. So there were 2 Bugatti Chirons. One of them that I took a picture of was all carbon fiber exposed. And it wasn't, it was a glossy carbon fiber exposed. Yeah. And there was another one that came in. There was a 488 Pista. There was a Pagani Huayra BC.
The Pagani.
I mean, and apparently all of the cars that came in were his.
I have to say, I don't think I've ever seen exotics on the track.
No, it's right. They rented a part of the track.
So they were out. They were out on Charleston Peak at the track.
Oh, they were on Charleston Peak.
They were on Charleston Peak.
Oh my gosh!
So the fact that they were actually tracking those cars—that's
impressive.
Way more impressive than just they are really cool cars. Multi-million-dollar cars that you see at Cars and Coffee or something, or just online,
or on cruises, or
on a cruise
rallies. Yeah,
but to see that on the racetrack, man, that's cool. It's cool to see them pushing at that level.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a level of I got it, I'm going to flaunt it, and I'm going to drive it that I'm impressed by.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was fun. That was a good trip. I'm looking forward to
really good trip.
I'm looking forward to next year.
Yeah, I think what we're going to try to do, as you and I talked to Todd about, I think we're going to do at least 2. So hopefully spring and fall. But if we can get some time in the summer, but summer though it's really hot,
so hot down
and
there.
it's really hot, and the track's gonna be slipperier. So
most people don't like to do. I was talking to a lot of people in SoCal about doing different dates for rallies, and they're like, as long as you don't do the summer, because ending up in Nevada in the summer or driving through, it's just so hot. So cool.
That's what we did, man.
Well,
that was a lot of stuff.
That was a lot of stuff.
Actually, it was a lot of good stuff.
We've done a lot of stuff. So I think. This week, I think the story I want to talk about is something I haven't really talked to a whole lot of people. I think I've only maybe shared it a couple times with some close people. I always say this is like my planes, trains, and automobile story. I'm going to talk about 9/11. And one, I think it's important to talk 9/11 because that's a date that we shouldn't forget. If you talk to like my grandparents, don't forget World War II, right?
Pearl Harbor.
I mean, there's a lot of things that, especially if you're in the military, or just if you're just a patriot of the country, you don't want to forget. And 9/11 is one of those things where it's not even being talked about in school anymore. So on September 11th, there's nothing. They don't talk about it.
Really?
That's
so
really
disappointing.
Sad. It is. It's disappointing. Because that was a bad day. There was thousands of people lost their lives on that day, and we shouldn't forget it. Here's my story. So the company I was working for at the time, we were setting up a new office in New York City, and we had gone there. I don't remember the exact. I think 9/11 happened on a Tuesday. I think that's when it happened. I'd have to go back and look, but I think it was on a Tuesday. So we had gotten there, I want to say, on a Thursday prior. The plan that me and this one guy, one of my friends or colleagues, I guess, he's a friend too, but his name's Pepper. We were going to go there, set up the office, and we were going to work like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Sunday's kind of a fluff day. And then we'd go in on Monday, kind of wrap things up. And then Tuesday would be our free day. And Pepper is from that area. He grew up there, went to school. He was going to take you to do sightseeing. Obviously, one of the things they want to do is go to the towers, right? Sure. We want to go up to the towers and then take me everywhere else down Manhattan. It's just Staten Island, all that stuff that he wants to take me to. So we get there and we start doing the work in the office. we had a bunch of equipment that we had shipped in. It was supposed to be there on Thursday, but for whatever reason, it didn't arrive. So we were kind of limited on the amount of work that we could do on a Thursday. So we're like, okay, well, you got Thursday, Friday, Sunday was the fluff day. If we need to, we can work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, we'll wrap it all up. We still got plenty of time. Friday comes in, and the equipment had arrived at the building. I forgot which building that we were in, but the equipment had arrived, but we could not get access to it. It was downstairs in receiving, but the holdup was, we could not get access to the equipment. Definitely disappointed because we'd lost 2 days, Thursday and Friday, and we can't work the weekend. So now that leaves us Monday, Tuesday to get our work done, and then we're leaving on a Wednesday. Super long days that was going to happen, and it's just really frustrating that the equipment's there, but we couldn't touch it. It's locked away for whatever reason. We couldn't get access. So we changed our plans. We're like, hey, we'll do our sightseeing on the weekend. Now we'll have to cram on Monday and Tuesday. Little did I know how that chain of events really prevented me or allowed me to still be here. Normally when I travel, I always call my parents and say, hey, I'm going somewhere. I travel international a lot, so I'm going so-and-so. I always let them know. But on this trip, I hadn't told anybody. Only my wife knew where I had gone. Not because I didn't hide it from them, but it's just I didn't even think about telling them. So we did our sightseeing on the weekend, which is great. Come in on Monday and picked up the equipment, and we started work. Long day, everything. Pretty sure that we're going to finish up on a Tuesday, but we had already looked at the possibility of maybe extending another day because we weren't sure if we'd get everything done. Tuesday come in, which I think is the 9/11 day.
Yes.
So we came in, and I remember walking into like they call them a pagoda. It's like a little, I say 7-Eleven, but it's like a little shop outside the front of a building where you can buy like drinks or candy bars or whatever. So we go into one of those, and the guy had a radio news station or radio playing.
Well, I'm sorry. How far was this away from the towers?
I couldn't see the tower from that location, but it was close enough that, well, I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay.
So I don't know how far away, but I couldn't see the tower from our location, but there's tons of high rises, so it's kind of hard to see anyway. Sure. It's not like right next door. I think we were further north than where the towers were. So I walk in to get a Mountain Dew. Back then I was drinking a lot of Mountain Dew. So I went in to buy a Mountain Dew and I think a candy bar. And I'm sitting there to pay in line, and someone... The
food of the IT world.
I know it. I'm sure it's probably a Snickers or a Butterfinger and a Mountain Dew. So I'm sitting there waiting to check out, and someone on the news station had said something about the towers being hit. Now, at that point, the first tower had been hit, but we didn't know what it was. The news station had said the tower had been hit by a plane, and I remember there was like 3 or 4 of us in line, and we're like, my first response was, oh, it's probably one of those little planes. If you've ever been there back then, I don't know what it's like right now with the airspace, but back then you had all these like little helicopters, or I call them like little prop planes that you could fly around New York City, And so I'm like, it's probably one of those little dinky planes that something happened and it ran into the tower. No one was thinking 737s at that point. And so I was like, man, I feel bad for whoever's plane hit the tower. Hopefully they stuck in and they were able to get out of the tower and they didn't fall down. And we're kind of just joking at that because we didn't know. We just thought a little plane had run into it. We leave there, me and Pepper leave there, and we go upstairs in the building that we were in to where the office was. They're like, did you hear what happened? Like, no, So they turn on, they had the TVs all going in the office. I was in shock. I'm sure everybody that watched that event tragedy unfold, I was just in shock. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. I've never seen anything like that before. Super shocking. We're stuck there like, what are we going to do? And so I remember talking to the guy who was like the director of that office that we were setting up. Hey, do we want to go and do something? Do we want to go and help right now? And he said, we will, but not right now. There's enough stuff with, it's on fire. We don't want anybody down there. Right. So we're like, okay, so He said, start calling some other places, start calling some churches around, see if they need any help, see if you can help do anything. We can see if we can get blankets. Let's just see if we can do anything. We can't go down there, but what can we do? So we're watching that happen. Then obviously, short time later, the second plane hits, and then both towers are on fire. I remember the office was super quiet, people crying. Mm-hmm. The buildings hadn't fallen at that point. Just somber mood, really somber mood. Then both towers had gone on. So we'll kind of fast forward. So both towers at this point had fallen. I remember when that happened, we walked out, we went downstairs because they evacuated our building. As soon as the first tower, I don't remember if it was the first or the second, but after one or both of the towers fell, they evacuated us from our building. So we all left the building and we go downstairs, and all of the smoke and debris from the fallen towers is coming up the street. So I had a picture as we walk out our building, all that debris and stuff is coming up the street. So I don't know how far away that we were. I'd have to go in the map and look, but we were close enough that we had that debris that was shooting up the tunnel, from the roadway.
Yeah.
We're all evacuated, just millions of people in the street at this point. Building is locked down. We're not allowed to go back in our building. We tried then to go to the hotel. Like, there's nothing we can do at this point. So we tried to go to the hotel, and the hotel was on lockdown, obviously, just like every single building in the area was on lockdown. Luckily, we still had another day before we checked out. We checked out on Wednesday morning, and this is on Tuesday, so they let us get back in. They were doing full body checks, everything, checking everything, looking in your bags, like not what they cursorily do today. They were legitimately checking everything out. So we're able to get into our hotel. So I won't go into all the details about what happened, but when we were there, we got in the hotel. We got evacuated 3 or 4 times the first night for bomb scares. People make me really sick that took advantage of that situation to do bomb scares, and not just the hotel we were in, but in a whole bunch of buildings in that area. About every 3 or 4 hours, the alarm would go off. We have to go downstairs. They have to come and clear the building. Well, everybody's doing that, all the other buildings. So there's not enough firefighters, right? We just had the towers go down. We lost a lot
I never knew that was going on. I'd never heard that before.
Oh, man, it was brutal.
Yeah.
So we lost however many firefighters and first responders, not just firefighters, but first responders, lost when the towers went down. They're already struggling with dealing with that chaos down there. Now all of these other buildings are getting bomb threats. They can't check them out. They would literally evacuate the building for about an hour and then just let us back in the building, not knowing is it really clear or not. Guesstimate that because all the other buildings are getting bomb scares that there's probably not. That happened for 2 more nights that nonsense was going on. That was a chaotic time, and I remember because there was a curfew put in place. You're not allowed to be on the street. And I have a picture of me and Pepper in the middle of Times Square at the curfew. I want to say the curfew was it was definitely at 10. It could have been 9 o'clock curfew. We're right at curfew hour, and there is not one person anywhere around except Pepper and I in the middle of Times Square. Really surreal. All the lights are going off, but there are no people at all. No cars, no people. All the roads were shut down. No traffic, no nothing. Really, really crazy time. We ran out of food, obviously. You don't even think about that kind of stuff. They had shut down everything. We literally had crackers that we were kind of munching on for a couple days. Where does that get us? I don't want to just sugarcoat or just, kind of bypass 9/11 because that's something that because I was super close to actually being on the towers that day, since Tuesday was our sightseeing day. And that was on our list to go do. Kind of crazy that how close timing worked out. But when I was there, my aunt, she called my mom and said, where's Dan? And she's like, my mom said, he's in Washington, he's at home. And she's like, I have a feeling that he's in New York. So this is after the towers had gone down. She called my mom. I found this out later. And my mom's like, no, he's not in New York. He's back home. She's like, I really think, I have this feeling that he's there. I need you to find out where he is. Mom can't get, all the phones are right. I can't call anybody.
Yeah, phone lines are just
Phones
congested and done.
You can't get out anything. So I can't even call home. I can't even let people know that I'm okay. So my mom called my wife.
Oh, no.
Where is he? He's in New York City. Now, my mom's freaking out because
Well, your aunt had some
I know, because
powers,
my aunt
dude.
had this premonition,
Wow.
right? And that now I'm actually
Can we
there.
talk about the lottery? Can you premonish me some? I don't know. I made up a word. Can you premonish me some lottery ticket numbers?
So now they're freaking out because now they know that I'm there and that she had this feeling that I was going to be there. They can't get a hold of me. Towers went down. They don't know what's going on. So they're all freaked out.
Yeah.
At some point in time, I was able to get through and, let everybody know I was okay. So obviously at that point, we had finished up the work that we needed to do as much as we could because the building's in lockdown. We can't do anything. So at this point, now we're trying to get home. The planes, obviously, the next day had been canceled. There's, all the flight traffic is not going on. So probably 2 or 3 days later, they opened the airport out for travel to start occurring.
Oh, man, that place was a zoo.
Man, I'm telling you,
Had to be.
I've never seen, and probably, hopefully, we'll never have anything like this again. But I remember when you walk into the airport, the amount of...
Which one, LaGuardia or JFK?
This was out of... It had to be LaGuardia.
Yeah.
I remember Pepper and I walk in, and the amount of people that I saw there was queues and lines of people everywhere. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people, right? We get to our check-in counter, and they're like, well, we don't know if flights are going today or not, so all you can do is go get in this line, and then you get into this line, and then if that line moves ahead, then everyone was getting screened by FBI. Mm-hmm. So every person, not just like if you random, they're interviewing every single person that's getting on the airplane. So you go there, and we sat in line. We got asked by FBI. Then you put yourself in another line. We did that, I want to say, for 2 or 3 days because we didn't make the flight. So then you come back the next day, and you go through this again. And then if you don't make it, you go back home. We had to go through this ordeal of trying to get home. Now, after the first day, we didn't think much about it. Now, at that point, we should have been smart about...
Rent a car.
What are other options of transportation? But
Train, rent a car.
We didn't think about it. Mm-hmm. The second time it happened, we're like, we need to look for other stuff because we don't know how long we're going to be here. So our first thought was, let's rent a car. Well, everybody that was smarter than us.
Yeah, they thought that day one.
They thought that day one.
Yeah.
All the cars were rented. So we even looked out in a pretty broad circle, like, okay, if we can get to another town, we'll get a car. There was nothing within a couple hundred miles, no cars available at all. So we're like, oh my gosh.
Bicycle.
Then we started looking at trains. Hey, what are options with trains? Trains, yeah, it'll take, 3, 4, or 5 days to get across country, but at least we've got on the road, no trains, all seats booked. Couldn't get out. We're like, no planes, no cars, no trains. What else are we going to do? We joked, because Pepper rides bicycles as well, and so we joked about bicycle, about renting bikes to come home. I think maybe on the third day we actually get a flight out. I remember getting on the flight. Everybody's dead quiet. Like no one's, like when now today you get on the phone, people's on the phone, they're talking, whatever. Not one person is talking. It's dead.
I don't know that I would have wanted to fly 3 days after that. You didn't have a choice.
You didn't have
a
choice.
But man, I can imagine. Well, I can see why everyone was quiet, right? Because they're the next kind of thing.
Yeah, pilot comes on. He actually came on and said, "Hey, I just want to let everybody know that the plane's been thoroughly checked out. Everything is completely safe. FBI has, interviewed all of you, which we would known that. Mm-hmm. Everything is completely safe. If for whatever reason you don't feel comfortable, then we'll book you on something else later. You just let us know. We'll make this work."
After 3 days, I bet you nobody took it.
No, no one got off the plane. No one's getting we got to get out of here.
Get the pain over with.
We end up making our way home. So blessed to be able to get back home, and so unfortunate for all the people that happened to on 9/11. from that moment on, I've always tried to change my outlook when something negative happens. You just don't know what's down the road. I was super frustrated. I'm not going to lie. I was really mad about the equipment not arriving on time. Then I couldn't get access to the equipment, and that was going to mess up our plans. Like, I was so furious about that kind of stuff, only to find out.
Because you were in that moment.
I was in the moment.
You were in that moment, yeah.
But I shouldn't have overreacted that way, because it's not benefiting me. It makes me look kind of, I don't know, like a butthead for acting that way. But I didn't know what was coming down the road, right? You just don't know. A couple days later, had those chain events not occurred, Pepper and I could very well been on the tower in the morning, because that's the best time to go up, because you don't have a lot of people. Very fortunate that the way things played out. I think that I was definitely being looked after. So happy to be back. But I have this thing that I printed off. You can't see it, but it's a newsletter that they publish on our internet back at the office. It's quite funny. It's serious and kind of funny. And I'll just read it. So it says late breaking news, and it's they've done like a report like USA Today.
It looks like USA Today website that you printed out.
Yeah, it looks like a USA Today
an old
website.
version of their website.
Old version of the website. And so it says, late breaking news, and it has a picture of me and Pepper on a bicycles. We're on bicycles, and it said this morning they were evacuated again from the New York office. There was another bomb threat at the building and the station next door, the train station. Everything was cleared in about an hour, and they're back to work. It appears that they will not be leaving at least until this weekend, because of all the flights were delayed, and that's true. We were delayed for a while. Dan and Pepper have work to do because they weren't able to do the work. As you can see, they were serious about their ride home, because of the picture of us riding a bike. So then they have picture, as you scroll down the website printout here, it says over the river and through the woods, and it has a picture of two people riding their bike through the woods. There's a quote, "We are now planning on buying 2 bicycles and riding back home. We anticipate on crossing Ohio on Tuesday," says a tired Dan. "Will we see them on CNN?" And then at the very end, it says a quote, I just felt like riding," comments shrimp entrepreneur Forrest Gump. So it's kind of a funny thing that they did in light of the situation, but it was interesting.
I can see why they got it. That's pretty funny. You got to do their best to, take it seriously and whatnot, but also best if you can find a way to be lighthearted where it makes sense and not undermining the severity of the situation. This is pretty funny.
Yeah, it was it kind of definitely helped kind of lighten the mood a bit, because it was very tense.
They put it at the bottom. This article was created for fun.
Yeah, they did. They put that in.
For our fellow employees, in no way making light of Dan and Pepper or men's situations. We pray for them, wish them a safe return home.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cute. That's really cool.
Yeah, I've kept that. So I've had that now for 23 years.
Yeah.
So I've kept that. Kind of cool. I never forget 9/11. I always post something at work on Teams or whatever, and it's kind of related to
planes, trains,
transportation.
automobiles.
So that's my planes, trains, and automobile. And while I kind of laugh, it's definitely very serious. I take it very serious about it, and never forget those who perished in that tragedy. But I thought that was some interesting topic to talk about.
Sure.
So
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's really powerful, and it's really important, because people need to see that there's lots of stories that are out there that no one knows about.
That just no one knows about.
Yeah, I had no idea about the bomb threats until you said that. I mean, as much stuff as I've read in the past, I don't recall. Maybe I read it and just forgot about it. I don't recall it though.
It was
so I had no idea.
So crazy. I just don't even understand why people do that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing, man.
Yeah, that was good. Cool. Okay, so this will be the last one for 2024. It's a wrap.
Season 1 is wrapped.
I tell you, when I wanted to start this, I wanted to be committed. I didn't, because there's so many podcasts that have started and stopped. I mean, I'm like, if I want to do this, I want to be really committed. And I've enjoyed the process.
Yeah,
I
me
really
too.
have. I've really enjoyed getting together with you and, chatting, whether we're traveling or we're your house, my house. I have a blast.
Or hotels.
Or hotels.
Hotels, conference rooms.
It's been a lot of fun. So I definitely look forward to next year, and not only with what the podcast is doing, but with other stuff with the club and other events that we've got planned. Look forward to hopefully a good 2025.
Oh, absolutely. And as you are listening to this, if you get to this point and you've listened to the very last things we're saying, put some notes in the comment section about what do you want to hear from next year?
Yeah.
Right? As we look into how we want to, do things for season 2, what does that look like? What should you, and we're open to doing whatever is interesting to you and to us. We want to have some fun with it as well. Certainly Dan and I enjoy doing this with each other and bringing other people in it as well. So it's been a lot of fun, but give us some feedback.
Yeah.
What should we do? What should we not do anymore? Give us feedback. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Feedback. Give us a rating, 5-star rating. Put us on wherever you listen, Spotify, Apple, iHeart. Give us a rating.
Are we going to say you have to subscribe, please? We're going to say that thing?
I've hesitated.
I know.
I'm just like
everybody does it.
Everybody does it.
People already know. If
people
you like
know
it,
if they like it, they're going to do it, right? So I don't think I feel.
Plus, we just talked about it, so they're going to feel guilty. We guilted them into it.
I got to go back and erase all that out. I'll do the editing cut. So, okay. Well, I guess that's it.
That's it.
Sounds good. Till
Thank
next
you for
time.
season 1, my friend.
Yep. Cheers.
Cheers.